Have you ever seen someone walk into a classroom and instantly feel like they don't belong? Well, that was Emma. But by the end of the story, the same people who laughed at her would be crying for her forgiveness. So, before we begin, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay till the end because what happens in the last few minutes will change how you see people forever. Emma stood outside the tall school gates, clutching her worn-out backpack. The straps were frayed, and the little stitched patch that read Mom's Angel was starting to peel off. It was her first day at her new school, another move, another town. Her father, a struggling mechanic, had been transferred yet again. She'd lost count of how many new schools she'd attended in just 3 years. Inside the gates, laughter echoed. Groups of students stood in circles, sharing jokes, videos, and weekend plans. Emma walked quietly, her shoes making soft sounds on the polished floor. She found her class, 10B, and took a deep breath before stepping inside. The classroom buzzed with noise until someone noticed her. A boy in the back, Jake, the class clown, whistled loudly, "Hey, look who's here." "Another charity case," he joked, elbowing his friend, Megan. The others chuckled. Emma froze. Hi, I'm Emma. "I think this is my seat," she said softly, pointing to the desk in the second row, the one assigned to her by the teacher, but Jake leaned back and smirked. "This desk? Sorry, it's taken." His friends laughed again. "Yeah, new girl, maybe try the corner near the trash can," Megan said cruelly. Emma's cheeks burned. She looked around, hoping anyone would speak up for her. But no one did. Even the quiet ones kept their heads down. The teacher hadn't arrived yet, and the class had already decided she didn't belong. So, she quietly went to the back of the room and sat on an old wobbly chair. Her eyes shimmered, but she didn't let the tears fall. She'd learned long ago tears made bullies hungrier. When Mrs. Daniels entered, she frowned. "Emma, why aren't you sitting at your assigned desk?" Before Emma could speak, Jake cut in. "She said she likes the back, ma'am." Everyone laughed again. Mrs. Daniels didn't push. She had a reputation for being kind, but firm when needed. She decided to observe first. Days passed. Emma stayed quiet, always early, always sitting in the back. When the bell rang, she would pack her things before anyone else and leave silently. But there was something about her that even the bullies began to notice. She was brilliant. In every quiz, her answers were perfect. In science lab, she fixed the broken circuit that even Jake couldn't get right. One day, during a history presentation, she spoke with such emotion about courage and kindness that the class fell silent. But the real moment came during the annual talent week. Each student had to showcase a skill. Jake and Megan planned a funny skit mocking teachers. Emma? She didn't plan anything. When Mrs. Daniels asked her, she quietly said, "I'm not sure yet." What no one knew was that Emma's mom had been a music teacher. She'd passed away 2 years ago, and since then, Emma hadn't sung a single note. But that night, sitting alone, she looked at her mother's old music notebook and whispered, "Maybe it's time." On talent day, the auditorium buzzed with excitement. When Emma's name was called, Jake whispered loudly, "Get ready for a lullaby disaster." The audience laughed. Emma walked up to the stage, nervous but calm. She took the mic, closed her eyes, and said softly, "This song is for the one person who taught me that kindness is louder than cruelty." Then she began to sing. Her voice was pure magic. The notes flowed with pain, strength, and love all at once. It wasn't just a performance, it was a story. Every word carried emotion, every pause carried loss. The auditorium went completely silent. When she finished, you could hear the sound of someone quietly sobbing. It was Megan. Jake looked down, speechless. And then, the entire audience stood up, clapping. A standing ovation. Mrs. Daniels had tears in her eyes. "Emma," she said softly, "you just reminded everyone here what real beauty sounds like." The next morning, when Emma walked into class, something had changed. Jake and Megan were sitting at her desk, but not to block her this time. They stood up as she entered. "Hey, Emma," Jake said quietly. "This is your desk. We, saved it for you." Megan nodded, eyes still red. "We're sorry. For everything." Emma smiled, not with arrogance, but with the same quiet grace she'd carried since day one. It's okay, she said gently. We all learn in our own time. From that day, the teasing stopped. The same students who once ignored her now wanted to sit with her, talk with her, laugh with her. But Emma didn't change who she was, she stayed humble, kind, and strong.